Okay, so let's talk safe jumps with Stride Bedman. I rewrote the script like 4 times because I was unsure how to present this information in a concise manner. If anything is confusing, please ask in the comments. I'll also keep a pinned comment with any significant changes that you should be noted of in case Bedman changes drastically enough. Safe jumps are kind of an unmoving concept, however, and the information in this video should still be relevant in the upcoming Season 4 version of Strive. There is a lot to cover, so let's begin. Part 1. Why do safe jumps? I'm going to assume you know what a safe jump is already, but if you don't, I'll try explaining it by selling it like I'm the Wolf of Wall Street. So, you knock the opponent down. You have the advantage, right? Or you're supposed to have the advantage, rather. But your opponent could wake up throw, wake up mash, and even worse, wake up reversal. What gives? How do we have the advantage when we still have to do this guessing nonsense on their wake up? Well, that's where safe jumps come in. Every major option that your opponent wants to do, beaten with a safe jump. If your opponent mashes, the safe jump hits them. If your opponent blocks, the safe jump makes sure that they block. If your opponent wakes up with DP, you block in time and get that juicy close slash counter hit punish. All for the cost of just doing a pre-programmed input. That's right, you don't even have to react. You don't even have to think. Just do the input and you beat these 3 options. It's as easy as that. But that's not all. By layering your inputs, you can also check for the opponent's backdash. That's right, a 4th common option, beaten completely free. I'll get more to that in this video after you pay me back by liking this video and subbing to my channel despite me uploading as often as the solar eclipse occurring. Now, safe jumps are important to Bedman for more reasons than just simply accounting for your opponent's wake up options. Safe jumps serve as a component to Bedman's error chaining block string. Safe jump can also serve as a fast high low check if the JH is involved. Overall, you should generally be doing safe jumps, even if your opponent does not have a meterless reversal. If your opponent starts showing other wake-up options, you can begin targeting those, but if at any time you're unsure what your opponent might be doing and you want to limit the guessing game involved in your wake-up, a layered safe jump is the way to go. Part 2. How to do safe jumps. This video will cover 3 prominent safe jumps in detail. The first that you should absolutely know is the post-spin situation. A low-hitting spin has an auto-time safe jump. This is going to assume that you have the opponent cornered. The easy variation of the safe jump is simply after spin, jump, air dash down forward, JK, hold back after the JK comes out, and then delay your S input after your land. You hold back after the JK to block the wake up DP in the situation that your JK whiffs. You delay your S input to block or hit confirm after the JK connects. If you block the DP in time, your S input will not come out because your unblock's done. The reason that you use JK is because it's a lower attack level normal and has less pushback. If your opponent FDs you, you can still get close slash. JK will also not lose to wake up 6p in the same way that JS can. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there's a harder variation of the safe jump that can also account for wake up backdashes. After you do your down forward JK, you still want to delay your close slash, but no more than 10 frames after you would land if JK whiffs. The reason for the 10 frame delay before your input close slash is to make sure you can still block the DP in time. The fastest reversals in this game are 9 frames. You want to input your close slash after 10 frames, but as soon as possible after this 10 frame window so you can still catch the backdash in time. This is easier to do with faster normals. In the corner, you can attempt close slash, and if the opponent has a slower backdash, you have more time to check the backdash. You can also make this easier on yourself with utilizing a faster normal like 2K, but be aware that if you're too fast with your backdash punish, you may catch your opponent airborne and have to opt for a different confirm. Now that it's worth noting that it's possible to do a similar safe jump off a spin if it hits mid-screen at low altitudes, but you have to use JS. JS has some weakness in that 6Ps can cause it to whiff, albeit you can land and block the 6P in time. The mid-screen variation also gets beaten by wake-up backdashes. You can mask a 2D input to check if the opponent is doing anything after the backdash, but it will not be a punish. The nice thing though is that if the JS hits the opponent, the 2D combos, and of course, if they bite and DP, you get a nice close slash punish. But all in all, the mid-screen variation of the safe jump is pretty lackluster. A more viable mid-screen safe jump is off of a high hitting spin. After 2H launches the opponent up, the higher altitude allows for a different safe jump. Super jump, air dash forward, JH, all done as soon as possible. As usual, remember to hold back during the air dash forward JH and buffer your buttons afterwards. Mid-screen, you'll likely want to use 2K due to the really fast high-low situation of JH into 2K. The last major safe jump I want to cover is off of throw. After forward or back throw, jump, whip JP, air dash forward JH, all done as soon as possible. This is really useful to get your momentum off of throw. Now, I'll mention a few other variations of safe jumps right now for the sake of posterity, but these tend to not be auto-time safe jumps or they are very situational. The first is off of any malfunction or bomb hit. Usually you're insanely plus off of this, but the issue is that there's not a lot of consistency in how plus you are. You can technically safe jump off of any of these hard knockdown situations, but you're more often than not going to have to manually time these. Manually timed safe jumps is a whole world of human error, so yeah, just do your best and practice, I guess. A second safe jump I'll mention is after a post wall break one. After Wild Assault or Super Wall Break, you can get a super jump, air dash forward, FD break, JS. This is a really complex input and it has to be done as fast as possible, and you pretty much get minimal reward off of hit or block. The opponent has to DP for you to get a really valuable punish, so it's a lot of work for very little. A third safe jump exists and piggybanks off of the post wall break one, and I have to give credits to Climb, another Bedman player who puts in a lot of work on the other side of the world. After a wall break, you could jump and BRC forward with JK, and it's technically a safe jump. The cost of 50 meter is kind of rough, but you can air chain with a block stun of JK fairly reliably into your next error as a result. Part 3. Exceptions and things to look out for. So far in the video, I've been treating most reversals as if they are the same thing, but there does exist two unique ones, both from Japanese characters. Baiken's Hiragi and Anji's Kachufugetsukai. Those are counter supers that are active on the first frame. Baiken's Hiragi will trigger a cinematic on any physical move that she catches within proximity. This is where you have to guess generally. Hiragi is heavily against Baiken's favor in the risk reward. If you call this out successfully, she can pay dearly for it. It's possible to fake out your safe jump by doing whiff JH instead of JK and delaying your landing attack to catch the recovery of Hiragi. You can also just cash out your error for a meaty since Hiragi does not activate against projectiles. Anji's Kachufugetsukai catches everything, but it also costs 50 meter. Similar to Baiken, you could fake him out by pretending to do the safe jump and waiting 3 years for the active frames to wear out. You can also do a neutral jump JH to hard bait it while still retaining your offense to some degree. Worst comes to shove, even if you get hit by Anji's counter, he sends you full screen and the neutrals mostly reset. You can also cash out your error as soon as possible and still be ready to block. Outside of those two exceptions, most characters have the dreaded DPRC. In this situation, you don't really have an answer. You kind of just let them do DPRC and try to survive the situation after. The silver lining is that they have to spend resources. If you're really concerned about DPRC, you can pretend that you're going for a safe jump by air dash backwards and have their DP whiff. If they don't DP however, you have given up your turn completely. There also exists a more complex safe jump input where you buffer your super while doing the safe jump so that if the opponent DPs, your super checkmates them. But this OS in itself is kind of a call out in some ways, and if you're not clean with your input, you're gonna look very silly. A few more things to look out for is IBFD and deflect shield. Safe jumps have one glaring weakness, and that it's usually a meaty, so there's a consistent timing for your opponent to IBFD and push Bedman out. Deflect shield is similar in this regard. Safe jumps are nice, but you shouldn't be asleep on the wheel. If you react at the IBFD or deflect shield, you can still technically block string into far slash in some situations, but keep this in mind so you can do things like FD break into empty low instead of a meaty JK to catch their timing. There also exists a similar concept to DPRC, and a concept is Super PRC. Potemkin, Faust, Gold Lewis, and Testament are the main users of this tool. Basically, these characters' supers are so slow that they can PRC the startup of the super and act before the super comes out. This generally will have them invuln past your JK and will have them have the advantage after they PRC, so be very careful. The way to beat this is just to do the safe jump and buffer an option far more quickly due to the nature of the PRC slowdown. You might be able to strike the PRC startup, or at the very least, the option that they choose after PRC. Worst comes to shove, you're able to block at the very least. Finally, we have Wake Up Gold Burst. It's hard to account for the Gold Burst timing in safe jumps while also accounting for the other options. If you're truly anticipating Gold Burst, you simply have to avoid accounting for the backdash and delay your landing normal. Gold Burst has a startup of 18 frames, so among the other wake up options is comparatively slow. Conclusion. Safe jumps are a crucial part of any character, but it's nearly double the case for Bedman because of his reliance on retaining momentums off of his hit confirms and the nature of error chaining. I did advertise safe jumps to be a be-all catch-all, but you should always vary your options based upon what the opponent shows that they know. If they show that they're willing to backdash the mid-screen version of the safe jump, you could try for options to trap that. If they show that they know little about Bedman's safe jumps and take the bait by DPing every safe jump, then just take the punish and win. Safe jumps are important for information gathering and assessing your opponent's familiarity with the matchup, while also identifying their habits on wake up. Also remember to always watch your opponent and stay alert on the wheel. Even if the nature of safe jumps take the load off the mental stack, you should always see what they do on defense and act accordingly, which is especially the case if the opponent starts expressing more unique wake up options that could bypass the safe jumps, such as the one I mentioned prior. And most importantly, just practice your safe jumps so you don't mess it up. You know what they say, a safe jump a day keeps the volcanic viper away. Good luck and pray the Strive devs do something about DPRC.